Why Japan is unique. We all know Japan is a very unique country and that not many places in the world can be compared with it. The culture, the history, food, and the place itself, it's something that you can't find anywhere else. Today we will list out the main points that make Japan such a unique country. Customer service. Japan's service industry sets the global standard for excellent service, and one of the best parts is they're not doing it in the hopes that you'll leave a good tip. Most people in the service industry are courteous to a fault. In Japan, there's no need to thank these people. To them, they're just doing their job. Kimono. Traditional fashions such as kimono are unique to Japan and one thing that sets it apart from other cultures. Many locals still enjoy wearing traditional clothes for special occasions, including graduation, weddings, and festivals. Bowing. The Japanese learn how and when to bow from a young age, and they use bows among themselves to mean anything from thank you to I'm sorry. Efficiency. Another thing that most visitors in Japan get stunned by is by how everything works so smoothly in Japan. Public transportation is probably one of the main things. Buses, trains, bullet trains, everything. It's just so convenient for travelers and locals. It is incredible the punctuality in which these types of transportations work by. The average rate of delays is 0.18 seconds. Something that you can't really experience in other places. Not only punctuality, but safety as well. Everything tends to be so safe, and if there is a rare case of disturbance, police officers are always available to help. Of course, many other countries have amazing efficiency. But Japan is quite jaw-dropping when it comes to a lot of it. Convenience stores, discount stores, and many other things are running constantly to make people's lives much easier. Convenience stores, for example, have anything you might need in the moment. If you forget something or just want something simple like water, you are able to get it at the closest convenience stores. They really live up to their name also, since you can find them anywhere. The food. Japanese food is undoubtedly one of the most unique cuisines in the world. There is a lot more to it than just sushi, sashimi, and steak. Japanese cooking is known as washoku, and is based on the rules of 5. The 5 rules mean using 5 flavors, 5 colors, and 5 cooking methods when cooking a full-course meal. A full-course meal in Japan consists of a soup and 3 sides, which is paired with rice. This means that not only is the food totally delicious because of all the flavors, but it also looks beautiful because of all the colors. The food is mostly low in calories and fresh products are almost always used, which means that on top of all the other benefits, it is very healthy as well. Shoes off. When you enter someone's place for the first time, it's customary to take your shoes off, no matter what. I still haven't found a place, minus hotels, where this was okay. Also, it's generally considered polite to say "Ojamashimimasu," which translates into "please excuse my intrusion." You may encounter a similar rule in some restaurants, especially izakas with a second floor or more traditional eateries. Here you will find tatami mats, or flooring, which should be treated with care. Shoes can easily damage this kind of flooring, and so this is another reason to ensure you take them off. Rules. There are rules displayed everywhere. At train stations, inside train bus, malls, toilets, in the hostels' rooms, bathroom, etc. These are just written rules. There are also unspoken rules while dining, queuing, commuting. Most service provider staffs treat visitors in a polite and friendly manner. But some can be very persistent, and there is no room for negotiation if your actions are perceived to have a slight chance to disturb others. The top rule in Japan: do not cause disturbance to others. In cities such as Tokyo, locals often expect visitors to follow the same set of rules, otherwise you might run into a situation where you accidentally offend someone and get a really angry stare or even scolding. Adhere to order and fall in line. You will see a lot of things regarding daily interactions that you might not be accustomed to. For some time, you will be an outsider, and it's important to try and fit in a bit. While in America, it's especially important to be unique and have an individual identity. You should adhere to the patterns and etiquette of the Japanese. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule, and any order might fall apart more during peak commute times. Although throughout the day, people will walk on the correct side of the sidewalk, stand on the proper side while riding escalators, fall into marked zones, and wait in orderly lines for trains. Sakura blossoms. $1 million view. Spring is the peak season in Japan, where there are tons of festivals going on and of course, the cherry blossoms. The language. The Japanese language is very different from other languages. As I mentioned before, politeness is a very big part of Japanese culture, and this can be shown in the language. A good way to describe it is to say that there are 3 different levels of politeness in the language: tanego, formal; keiko, highly formal; and kyutaketa nihongo, informal. What decides the level of politeness that should be used is a person's rank or how familiar you are with them. Children, students, employees, etc. are considered to be lower ranks and they are usually spoken to informally. Guests, customers, parents, bosses, and the elderly are considered higher ranks and they are spoken to formally. In English, if we want to sound more formal or show respect, we simply change our word to sound that way. In Japanese, it's more about changing your grammar, tone, and using different verb forms. For kyutaketa nihongo, the Japanese use plain verb forms. For tanego, they use polite verb endings, and for keiko, they use respectful verb forms. Low crime rate. One of the safest country in the world, Japan is considered as the safest in Asia, with only 1.4% of the population had been victims of assault, according to a report by Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development in 2014. You literally can accidentally leave your cell phone on a table in Starbucks and it will be there when you come back. That is when you return 6 hours from when you left it. From delivery men leaving packages in the street in broad daylight to unchained bicycles, there is very little need to worry about theft. Like many customs in Japan's polite culture, much of the society operates on a code of honor. Hot springs, onsen. Being a volcanic country where the volcanoes are still very much active, all the regions in Japan have numerous natural hot springs onsen to offer to visitors. Onsen are among the most popular tourist sites in Japan. The Atomic Bomb Memorial Site in Hiroshima. Japan is the only country who has suffered from the atomic bomb. The memorial site and Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum in Hiroshima are definitely one of the main reasons why you should visit Japan. The museum takes you back to World War II and reminds visitors that peace is what we need in this world. Valentine's Day and White Day. In Western culture, men and women give each other gifts to show their love for each other. You could even say that the focus is mainly on women receiving gifts from their significant others. In Japan, Valentine's Day, also celebrated on February 14th, is meant for men only. Girls and women give typical gifts, usually chocolate, to the men. White Day is exactly 1 month later on March 14th, and this is the day where men buy gifts for women. Earthquakes and natural disasters. Japan reports more earthquakes than any other country in the world. It can experience dozens of small earthquakes each month. Larger earthquakes, which cause infrastructural damage or tsunami, are much more rare, but devastating when they do happen. Samurai culture. Samurai culture may seem like just another part of Japanese culture, but it has actually played a very big role in shaping Japan. To some extent, the discipline that was so important in samurai can still be seen today. Bushido, or the way of the warrior, is a very old philosophy, but it meant living a life of bravery and honor. Even though modern-day Japanese people no longer fight actual battles, to them, this way of life is still applicable in their everyday situations. It is important for them to handle situations with dignity and pride and to bring honor to themselves and their families. Japan is definitely proud of their samurai history, and it is still a very big part of Japanese culture. There are many heritage and memorial sites all over Japan that are dedicated to samurai warriors and the battles that they fought. Anime and manga. Astro Boy, written in the 1950s, is one of the world's first manga. The comic was admired for its progressive style, and decades later, manga and anime would grow to become one of the country's most iconic exports. Japan's manga has a strong influence on the comic book artistry in South Korea and China in particular. Tokyo is the most populated city in the world. Whenever you're sitting in traffic or riding the rush hour train, keep in mind it is likely much worse in Japan. In fact, the country's capital, Tokyo, is the most populated city on Earth with 38,140,000 people. The United Nations expects the city to hold that title until 2030. Discipline. From an early age they are strictly taught on how to properly do things, especially when they are in a public space. What is considered rude, bothersome and such. A lot of other countries doesn't have a mindset of that. For the Japanese, learning starts from an early age. Capsule hotels. Capsule hotels, also known as pod hotels, are small-sized bedrooms with all the necessary facilities for a short and safe stay. It comes with air conditioning and heater, a mini television, plug points to charge electronic devices, a bed table. Again, they can be cheap ones or exotic ones depending on the prices. The guests are also provided with slippers and towels. Sounds perfect for any introvert. There are more pets than children. Back in 2013, Goldman Sachs found that there were more registered pets in Japan than there were children. At the time, there were 21.3 million cats and dogs registered and only 16.5 million children below the age of 15. Japan may be paradise for pet lovers. Point cards are a thing. You'd be surprised by the number of reward systems available in Japan, both at stores, restaurants and even online. The number is beyond crazy, and trying to keep up is even more of a hassle. It is not uncommon for people to hold over 5 different point cards in their purse or wallet too. Luckily, retailers are catching on, and apps are slowly making our lives a little more streamlined. No tipping. In Japan, there is no tipping culture, and there never was. Rather, they generally pride themselves on their service levels. So much so, that the offer of a tip could be considered an insult. In general, customer service is seen as a privilege. The phrase, "Okayaku-sama wa kami-sama desu," holds true in Japanese culture and the way they think about the customer. Its literal meaning states the customer is God. People. Japanese people are definitely one of the biggest reasons why their country is described as so unique. The people are generally known to be particularly polite, kind, and hardworking. Most people who travel to Japan seem to comment on how friendly and welcoming the Japanese are toward tourists. The way they come across to their fellow citizens is also important to the Japanese. There is a pecking order, and older people, or people who are in a position of authority, should be treated more formally than, say, someone your own age or someone who works for you. For example, there are different ways to say thank you to different people. An older, highly respected person should be bowed to in a different way that is seen as more formal. Sumo wrestling. Sumo wrestling began in Japan hundreds of years ago, during the Edo period, but its roots may go back even further to ancient Shinto rituals. Japan is the only country where sumo wrestling really caught on, and it is still the only place where you'll find the sport practiced on a professional level. Everything is healthier. Japan is unique because they place a real effort on being healthy. 740 out of 1.3 million people in Okinawa, Japan are centurions. And Japan's average life expectancy is close to 85 years, while the United States comes in at about 78 years. Overall, you will see the retired population far more active in Japan, and therefore you will see the older generation socializing and exercising regularly alongside young people in the parks. From Tai Chi to Katana, they not only exercise with a routine, but they work their culture into their exercise. Not only do they value and find time for exercise, but the Japanese food options are also typically far more healthy. Like us Westerners, they do enjoy sweets as well, and you can find amazing candies and baked goods everywhere. Although the traditional Japanese diet with staples, like rice and fish, is much more natural and easier for the digestive system. And, unlike in American, the options available from eateries are far more healthy. High-speed bullet trains. Japanese Shinkansen have a top speed of 275 miles per hour, and is ranked third place among the world's fastest trains. Pachinko. Pachinko is a type of slot machine that was invented in Japan in the 1920s. Instead of trying to get matching pictures, players hope that the metal balls launched into the machine land in the right prize slots. Pachinko parlors are common throughout the country. Artistic manhole covers. This is one way Japan shows its obsession for art. They have beautiful manhole covers that just makes you want to click pictures of it. Everything is organized. Japan is unique because the respect for order in Japan is awe-inspiring. From the pristine, clean streets to the perfect ordering of store shelves, everything from floor to ceiling has been accounted for. The way the Japanese live their lives flows into the environment, and you will see it everywhere you look. Everybody takes pride in both their work and the environment, and you will never see a citizen littering. From the delivery drivers cleaning their company vehicle daily, to metro cleaning staff cleaning train cars before every departure. The Japanese take clean to the next level. Unique vending machines. The vending machines in the US pale in comparison to the vending culture in Japan. While the first machine in Japan sold cigarettes, today magazines, flowers, drinks, and full meals can be bought from the 5.52 million vending machines nationwide. The country's fascination with automation is demonstrated in its vending machine culture, as almost every street in Japan has at least one vending machine. Japan is a super clean country. The Japanese take hygiene seriously. You will hardly see any rubbish on the roadsides, even the trains are clean. In Japan, not only they are clean, everything is in perfect order and neat as well, well-trimmed trees, for example. Children travel alone to school. Most of the parents bring their children to school, but in Japan, most kids go on their own. There are children who use subways and buses to get to school. The most advanced country in Asia, and maybe in the world too. Ever notice that at least one of your home appliances is a Japanese brand? Or when you count 10 cars on the streets, at least 3 are Japanese cars? Being one of the most technologically advanced countries, Japan offers you all sorts of high technology experiences. Ancient Buddhist temples and Shinto shrines. Beautiful ancient Buddhist temples and Shinto shrines in Japan is one good reason that you should visit and see them yourself. Shrines which are located up the mountains will not disappoint in terms of beautiful scenery. The Itsukushima Shinto Shrine, shrines and temples of Nikko and Buddhist monuments in the Horyuji area are also awarded as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Japan is a very modern, fast-paced country, yet it still keeps a lot of its ancient traditions alive. There are strict rules and sometimes controversial ways of doing things, and even though we know so much about this country, there is still a mysterious aura around Japan. However, this sense of mystery is what makes it so unique and enchanting. Japan has successfully created what is referred to by many as the perfect society.